Yo, what's up, everybody? What's good? That's right, the Boston Source checking in. I thank everyone that is watching live here on the Boston Source as we have my guy to join here with me. Hey, look, if there's anyone that has been on the Boston Source more than this guy, man, listen, I don't even know who that is because this man has been 10 toes down since way, way back, y'all. Of course, he is part of the bloodline of royalty, the longest reigning WBC champion, hailing from Capitol Heights, Maryland. Y'all know him, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. What's happening, fam?
Man, I can't call it, man. Cooling, taking care of these babies, making sure the bros good, man. Staying tunnel vision.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Just got to stay locked in, man, and make sure everything's taken care of and stuff like that, man. So I know that you got a lot of things that's been going on, man. But of course, you're able to take the time here to chop it up with me, man. We're very thankful for all that.
Oh yeah, man. They gotta be able to give back, man.
Yeah,
Gotta give back, man. Fans got questions. You know, um, Shit like this gives me the opportunity to be able to just pour back into the sport that I love so much. So,
mm-hmm,
um,
mm-hmm. No doubt, man. Of course, man, been a minute since we caught up and stuff like that, and it's been almost a month since we seen Gary Antuanne Russell win that WBA super lightweight title over Jose Raul Valenzuela, and for me, he had a top level performance in there. You were in his corner round by round and guided him as he got a near shutout decision victory, man. Like after all of it was done. And you had, of course, Mr. Jimmy Lennon Jr. say, and the new WBA super lightweight champion. Like, what were you thinking before that announcement was down after the fight took place?
before it took place, I felt as though that he did it. He fought a shutout fight before they actually announced it. Um, he executed the game plan very well. He listened. It was a couple times where I had to kind of pull him back because, regardless of what people want to say, Venezuela, that guy, he still had a certain level of pop, and he still had the ability to still actually hurt my brother and still be effective and change that fight at any given moment. So you had to have a certain level of mental resilience. You still had to stay on point throughout the entire duration of that fighting
Mm-hmm.
one like that. So, but I felt as though, man, we had it. I felt as though he pitched a shutout. He listened well. We put the work in training camp, and man, it was just our time. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
Man, this bloodline speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man. I mean, I was there, of course, live at the Barclays Center, for what went down, and my thing was, it was like, hey, I felt like he did very well, but like you said, I mean, with Ryo, he does have a little bit of pop here and there, so you had to like watch out for that. So it seemed like a couple of times where he Ryo was able to catch Antoine a couple of times, so where he just scaled back, moved back a little bit, recalibrated, and just went back to the game plan.
Piranhas in there.
Ah, look, oh man, oh jeez, down the
Piranhas.
crowd, yo.
Yeah, those piranhas.
Man, hey, what you about to feed them? Yeah, man. So yeah, that was the joint there where I was at the fight, man. That was right after the last round and everything like that. So I had a few joints from there.
I felt as though that he had it done, man. He accomplished what we wanted. He went out there and did what we asked for. He showed. I told him before any fight, I always tell my brother the difference between good and great is inches and centimeters and the ability to produce. He did that. He
Hmm.
took the fight beforehand. We used that shit as fuel. We use it as motivation, and we ready.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Antoine did mention that quote there about the inches and centimeters after the fight there. So he definitely like I said listened to you in the corner there. on that front. But before I get into my next question, I got my co-host here that's logged in with me. Of course, coming from Brunch Boxing, my brother Matt is here in the building with the man, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. There, hey brother Matt, yo, checking in. What's up?
Hey man, first of all, salute to the boxing source, salute to the Russell family. I always say that in boxing, there's more than one royal family, and to me, the Russells are one of the royal families of boxing. So it's an honor to be talking to Mr. Gary Russell Jr. Let's get it.
Appreciate it, soldier. Appreciate that, man. That mean a lot.
Yeah, for sure, man. And Mr. Gary, you were talking about the previous fight, and from the time that they announced the fight between Antoine and Raul Valenzuela, like you seen, something there in Antoine that said, "Yo, I'm gonna, beat." It's almost like he lived in the gym. You feel me? Because he was like, "Ain't no way I'm gonna let this thing, pass by me." There, man. He felt like, at least to me, he felt like he was his own biggest critic, for what happened last year against Alberto Puello. And, part of it, he said, was, a couple of things here. There was, some things that, he kind of, heard in the corner and didn't quite, listen to. And he felt like, what, this time I'm going to, be there, be guided, and make sure that I, pay attention and things like that. Now, what do you feel was the biggest adjustment from the Puello fight last year and the Rayo fight?
I feel like the biggest adjustment was the mindset. The biggest adjustment was definitely the mindset, the thought process that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother, I'm grateful as men, once we get to a certain age, or yeah, I guess once we get to a certain age, we tend to just do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to, we tend to do what we want to do. I'm just grateful that my younger brothers, they are still open minded for constructive criticism and etc. I think in that particular fight, when he competed with Puello, if you actually paid attention to that fight, he was winning and dominating the first half of the fight. He was dominating the first half of the fight. It wasn't until maybe the half part of the fight, where things started making a slight change. Um, Someone, I don't know, it was a commentator or somebody, I don't know if it was a commentator or maybe someone that have a podcast or something like that. During the weigh-ins or press conference or something, they said that Antoine's style was similar to Sean Porter. And my little brother, he kind of took offense to it. Now he's like, well, I'm gonna show them that I can do something better than just be a bull in the ring. And he allowed them or someone else to come in and kind of get in his head a little bit, and that shit right there is something that you're never supposed to do. Never let somebody come in and get you off your game. And if with a lot of younger fighters, when they feel as though they have the measure of their opponent, they tend to get cocky, they tend to get big headed and do things, and they tend to get careless. It's the coach's job to be able to properly wing them back in. You,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a couple times that happened in the Venezuela fight. My little brother was definitely getting the measure of him, but I didn't want him to get too overzealous and give this guy the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
being reckless. Um, and in that fight with Pollo, he got the measure of his man, and he decided that he wanted to do something different. He stopped listening. Um, I believe that, unfortunately, that was something that he had to experience to understand the importance of it. I think that's what it took.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Gary, let me ask you a question because as a trainer, obviously your dad was the main trainer for all of you guys, and now you kind of stepped into the role as the head trainer with your brother. Like, what has that transition been like from your late great father to you in the corner for your brother when it comes to the training, the communication, and the trust? that you guys have between each other?
That part, the transition has been. That's more of a question that you'll have to ask my little brother. But to me, it hasn't really been a transition. That's always been my younger brother. They always been my little brothers. Before I was competing, you know what I'm saying? Well, before they was competing, that was my little brothers. So at the end of the day, a lot of these people, when you have coaches, the coach and the fighter have to have a certain level of chemistry. You have to have a certain level of trust within one another for it to actually blend right. When you're out there competing and you're fighting, that's fucking war. That's chaos. You have to have enough trust and enough belief in the instructions that someone is giving you to at least go out there and attempt some of that shit in the heat of battle. I think it was just something that came natural to me because that's just my younger brothers. It's nothing that I'm going to tell them that I would personally feel was wrong, especially if I don't already experienced the shit and I have the know-how.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always working hand in hand with my father when it came to training my younger brothers or working with my younger brothers. I don't know if you guys can remember back, but when I defended my title against Jojo Diaz,
Mm-hmm.
my father was the head coach. Antonio fought first. I worked his corner. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know which one, Antoine or Antonio. One of them fought first. I worked this corner, went back in the dressing room. My other brother fought. I went back out, worked their corner, back in the dressing room, and then I got to get myself situated for the main event to defend my world title. So it was something that it's not unfamiliar territory. I was always right here, helping guide my younger brothers. So it's just crazy that Pop's not here now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just grateful that I got the ability to keep this thing going. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I was out there for that particular, fight card with, you and Jojo Diaz, out there at the MGM National Harbor, and yeah, like you said, you had those three fights right there. I think there was like another one. I have to see if I could pull up something from it, like when you had the fight against Oscar Escandon. There, I think it was what 2017 or something like that. You know what I mean? So you had that as well there where you had all of y'all in action too. So
So
definitely was something that, like you said, you've been in the corner there to assist your father at times there back then, and then at other times too, like during the years that you were right there in the corner for them for their fight. So that's pretty much been that period where you kind of like adapted to being a trainer and having those eyes to like say, hey, okay, I see you doing this, I see your opponent doing this, so you could implement this in the next round and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. Man, I like that picture, man. You're absolutely. I didn't even think about that fight, but you're absolutely correct. It just speaks volumes that this is something that I've always been doing. As an older brother, I have an obligation, whether I like it or not. It's
Hmm.
I gotta tell you, whether you like it or not, you gonna hear it from me. I'm obligated to tell you this shit, Shawty.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt that, man. And I was gonna go back to that as far as like the thing with Pops, because when our conversation there at the gym, you were saying like the fight there with Antoine against Riley, it was all for Pops, and that
Mhm.
with Antoine like preparing for this fight, like there was like no way, and I'm saying no way that he was going to be losing that fight, because as was mentioned before, he was like living in the gym. It seemed like, because this is like coming from a conversation that they had for the conference call between Antoine and Rio, like pretty much from that day, like he was in the gym, because I was out there the next day, and that's what he was doing, working, man. And what I talked about, Jimmy Lennon Jr. announcing Gary Antuanne Russell as the new WBA champion. That's one thing, but right after that, to see all of y'all celebrate there in the ring, and that was pretty much like part of the mission being accomplished. I said part because he said, "Hey, listen, I'm ready to get all them belts. But going from that last question there, like, what does it mean to carry that legacy of your father on as a wrestler?
Man, it means a hell of a lot, man. People always said, "Why your father name all y'all Gary?" I guess he wanted his name to live on. I tell people all the time, I'm definitely my dad's child. I'm my father's child all the way. Um, and I tell my younger brothers, for every accomplishment that we achieve is predicated to the hard work, the effort, the sacrificing, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and the intellect that Pops instilled into us. All that shit is dedicated to him. We not no Frankenstein fighters. You know what I'm saying? Like I call fighters that have multiple coaches, this coach, that coach, this. We call them Frankenstein fighters.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Everything you see right here, this shit is all homegrown. We had one motherfucking teacher, same motherfucker trainer. And when he passed that shit on to me, and we bring that same tutelage. So my father created, you know, one of the longest reigning champions in the sport of boxing, as well as two Olympians, as well as he made history with four brothers to win the national Golden Gloves, all from
Mm-hmm.
all from the same tutelage. So it just speaks volumes on the bloodline, man. I refuse to let this shit go in vain or to let anything stop just because Pops is no longer around.
Yep, like you said, you had that definite bond there, with your father and things like that. So, just having that legacy, there was, something of a great thing to, kind of like live up to and carry there, and kind of like reminds me of something there. Of course, with him talking about having the Gary Russell name there. Of course, we had the recent transition of George Foreman. Of course, he had his kids, named George Foreman, for him. So, definitely is something to, carry that legacy on there as far as like being a wrestler, like you were talking about.
Yeah, man. And man, shout out to man, and my condolences to the Foreman family too, man. That's another one that hit me. God damn, Big George. He's definitely somebody that is a legend in the sport.
Yep, no doubt, man. All right, I'm gonna get into a couple of fan questions here, whatnot. I had one that was on here. Shout out to Trill on this. This goes to like when you was fighting or when your brothers fighting and things like that, and you're going round by round. And I think what was it? Someone like asked this to Gary Antuanne after the fight in March 1st, but it's about the end swell, right? And you see like how much fans like react to seeing that the inswell that y'all have that kind of like covers the area that they do. So like, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, well, that's something that we patented. That's something that we patented a long time ago. Instead of using the regular in swells and stuff like that, it's just a custom mold of your actual face at its natural state. So any deformities or anything like that, when you put that mask on, it's going it's going to get it done. But
Word.
a lot of this, you can get we can get it customized. So I
Mm,
be custom as far as me, Tonio, and Antoine. All of our masks are completely different. You know what I'm saying? As far as the symbols and stuff that's on the front of it. But it's all ancient shit though.
word. So I'm seeing here if I could go into another one of these fan questions here. This kind of like is jumping here, but this kind of like goes into what happened March 1st at the Barclays Center main event there. With Tank Davis versus Lamont Rhodes Jr. And like how that particular fight went, and of course, at least we talked about it, in the past about you and Tank Davis and things like that. So, we got something here from user here, Secret Dance Movie says, like, have you ever tried to negotiate a fight with Tank Davis?
Hell yeah! When I was competing, when I was competing before my shoulder surgery, um, hell yeah, I wanted to fight everybody. I wanted to fight Tank. I wanted to fight Leo Santa Cruz. There's a whole bunch of people I wanted to fight. Tank was definitely one that was on the list. He just stayed the fuck clear away from me.
Word. What Secret Dance Move says like, G, Mr. Junior and Tank is fight to make or Tank versus Antoine, but he says, hey, we know Tank would never take that fight.
Say it again. You was breaking up a little bit.
All right, hold on. Oh, we got it here. It says like, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. versus Tank is the fight to make, or Tank versus Antuanne Russell. But he says we know Tank is never going to take that fight.
Hey, to the true fans of Mr. Gary Russell Jr., y'all know I've been on that boy ass. No homo. I've been on that boy. Like, I gotta watch this new generation. Hey, these generations. You know what I'm saying? But y'all know I've been trying to send pressure at him. I've been wanting to fight him. That was a fight that I've been wanted. I guess nobody wanted to fight me. Nobody wanted. I guess my skill set too good for a motherfucker. They wasn't willing to test themselves. People scared, man, to test to see if they really the best. People more so focus on trying to keep an O than really trying to see if you the best. I don't understand.
Now, one thing though, Gary, when you was talking about negotiating a fight with Tank, you was kind of talking like your career is over. You said when you was fighting. So what's going on, man? Are you officially retired? Like, when are we gonna see Mr. Gary Russell Jr. back in the ring?
Well, you saying Mr. Gary Russell Jr. back in the ring March 1st in my little brother's corner.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But no, the last time I competed, honestly, I had a torn tendon. I tore the tendon connected to my rotator cuff. You know what I'm saying? It was a vicious injury. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing that you can just bullshit and just come back from. You know, I would love to come back. I would love to come back and compete. I still work out and shit like that. You know, I definitely still work out. I like being in a certain type of shape, but the injury in which that I caused, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You know, so once I got injured, you know, I'm also just focused on just rehabilitating myself back to the point where so I can just do my everyday shit, spend time with my babies, pick my babies up over my head the way I want to and stuff like that. And it just, I'm not gonna say forced me, but with everything that was going on, a domino effect of my father passing and then my shoulder injury, and you know, it just made me kind of target more so locking in on my little brothers, locking in on my family a little more. So it was one of those type of things.
So if you never fight again and you are the trainer for your brothers, doing your thing, carrying on the Russell legacy, are you satisfied with that?
Hell no, I ain't satisfied. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter at heart. You know what I'm saying? I can never food poison the fans. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Yeah, no, I would not be satisfied with it, you know, but I understand that everything that we want in life, we don't always get. You know, I do have to be mature enough to understand that. Um, but no, that's not something that I would want. But I would find a certain level of contentment within it, knowing that I can still participate in the sport that I really do love by catapulting my younger brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Word.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Word. Now, I mean, I've mentioned this multiple times in the past, right? But when people hear the name Gary Russell Jr., their antennas go up, man. Listen, if I posted a video of you on the heavy bag or the speed bag in the gym, like the numbers would be going up, man. I've said this before, like they'd be on the top around, for viewership and things like that, right? What is it about Gary Russell Jr. that has fans interested in what you do?
I think sometimes in life you do have people that's good. in the sport, but then you have some people in the sport that shows just exceptional ability. You know, somebody in the sport that shows they're just this much better or they're that much more creative. Everybody in the sport throws this. Everybody has a jab, everybody has a hook, everybody has an uppercut. And my father said to me, makes the difference. It's the creativity of the fighter. It's the creativity, the rhythm, the swag, the all of that shit combined in one.
Mm.
Com- the velocity, you know what I'm saying, and the aggression. It's a brutal sport, you know. So you do have fights where though it just comes off barbaric, but every once in a while you have these fighters that comes along and they make this shit look like art. I believe
Mm.
fighters. They make this shit look like art. I'm like, God damn, that shit was pretty. Damn, did you see what the fuck he just did? Hold up, rewind that shit. I gotta see that again. That was damn, do that shit again. You know what I'm saying? I believe I'm one of those fighters that make this shit look like art. It's not just fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Why I always say when I was competing, you know, it was intellect over athleticism.
Yep.
Not the biggest, it's not the fastest, it's not the strongest. In most cases, it's the smartest. You know, on top of I believe God definitely gifted me with hand speed as well. You know, hand speed was something that always played a factor in my game. But I think all of it combined is what it was that makes people so interesting. And not to mention maybe personality. They know sometimes I don't got no filter. I'm gonna keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna bullshit y'all. I,
Yeah, you talk your shit. You got some. Listen, you have some viral clips out there. Like, oh, I want you so fucking bad, and you got the oh, man, who the fuck is up, niggas? I think those are the clips that people post the most. And you got that one clip where Terrence Crawford got so mad at you, he threatened to break your fucking neck if y'all was in person. He was so mad at you.
yeah, but he talking. He trying to hear that shit. I'm still on what I've been on. Ain't nothing changed. I'm still,
Yeah, man. Yeah, most definitely, man. Like I was saying, man, be out at the gym right there, man. Or like I said, if I put up like, you know what though, if I did have a clip, man, and I said, hey man, you got Gary Russell Jr. in the speed back, hey, and it'd be like, oh, Gary Russell Jr. coming back. Uh-oh, you know what I'm saying? So that's all it could take sometimes, for people to say, hey, listen, Gary Russell Jr. there, man. Hey, look, if Keith Thurman could return to the ring after being out for as long as he's been out, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly,
out, bro.
exactly.
You know what
Hey,
I
we
mean?
we we, we need to send Gary to that ocean that Manny Pacquiao healed his shoulder with that salt water, so we could get
hey,
Gary back in the
hey,
ring.
listen. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of Pacquiao because Pacquiao is somebody you got to give credit when credit's due. Um, he put in the work. He put in the effort. He's a fellow warrior on this battlefield. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't too much of a fan of it because I feel like when I competed against one of the Pacquiao fighters, they robbed the shit out of me. So Pacquiao rubbed me wrong.
Yeah,
Pacquiao
yeah,
wrong, you know what I'm saying? That Mark Messiah, everybody in their mom,
yeah.
that boy ass with one hand.
One hand. Like everybody was out there in Atlantic City saw that. You know what I mean? So it was crazy. That was crazy, man. Real quick, man. More shout outs to those listening to the live chat. My guy, Big Dre, in the building. What's going on? Hey, yo, Steph in the building. Secret Damn Smooth says, hey, yeah, we need Mr. Gary Russell back in the ring at least once more. And what we got here from Facebook by guy Steven.
Say that again.
Oh, yeah, he said we need Mr. Gary Russell Jr. back in the ring at least once more. So I'm
And
telling you, man, like people were saying that, hey, we see if you get back. My guy Stephen Andrew says, respect to you, Gary. You and your corner were my inspiration. You guys were a finely tuned machine. Will always be a fan, champ.
There you go, man. Tell him I appreciate it. I
Yeah,
appreciate the support, and I appreciate you being a fan. Energy is transferable. So if you see one of my little brothers fighting, or if you seen me compete back in the day and you threw some punches in the air, don't please believe I brought that shit with me.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And Secret Dance Move asks the questions here. Hey, would Mr. Gary Russell Jr. come back for a fight with Naoya Inoue at 126?
To be honest with y'all, like I said, I just had with this shoulder injury, this shoulder injury ain't nothing to play with. If it was a perfect world and I wasn't injured and I didn't get injured or anything like that, would I would that be a fight that I would want to take? Um, I think he's the only one that's in that division that'll be worth me fighting. But I wouldn't fight him at 126 though. Hey, he had to meet me at like 130.
Now, let me ask you real quick about Gary Antonio, because he he's still at 118. You know, he does his thing up there. I've been trying to get a fight between your brother Gary Antonio and my guy Michael Angeletti from Texas. I think it would be a great fight. It's a fight that the fans would support.
You
And I've
said
been trying
your guy and your guy who?
Michael Angeletti. Michael Angeletti. Both guys, both PBC guys. It's a fight that well, you're not on Twitter, but on Twitter, everybody be talking about that fight. It's a big fight for both guys.
I gotta check it out. I don't even know who that guy is.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. See, Nat. See,
boxing, no.
see.
As much as you follow boxing, you don't know Michael Angeletti. Come on, man.
Listen. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I love the sport of boxing because I was a fellow participant and my younger brothers participate in the sport. But the sport is wow. I don't really watch it as much unless it's somebody that I actually know that's competing. So it's somebody that I don't know. It ain't me just throwing a shot at them or you know what I'm saying. It's nothing like that. It's just honestly, I just haven't seen the guy. I never seen the guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Because remember, I asked the same question to Antonio Russell earlier.
He don't know him either.
Yeah, he don't know him. See, so
right.
Come on, man.
That's the truth. I'm telling you.
Because I'm looking at it this way though, right? We know those Japanese guys, they're gonna be fighting for them belts for a little bit. So we need an American. We need our next Mark Too Sharp Johnson to bring those belts back to America. And I think that your brother and Michael Angeletti are the best that we got that could go beat those guys over there in Japan.
And so what's this guy's name again?
His name is Michael Angeletti.
Antonio didn't know who he was.
No, Antonio didn't know who he was. See, when Antonio said he don't know him, I thought Antonio was just like, like throwing shade or whatever. But y'all legit don't know him. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I promise. It's definitely not throwing shade, bro. It ain't throwing shade. Like we love the sport, you know what I'm saying? But I don't feel as though the sport is what it was. When we watch the sport now, if I'm watching a fight, these fights now don't give it to me no more. It got to be somebody that I actually know, someone in the sport I'm actually a fan of, and I'll watch it. You know what I'm saying? I'll watch their fight. I'll make the time to come and catch this bitch. But just scrolling through TV, this random fight on, it will catch my attention for a second. Like, let me see what the hoot. And after a while, I'm like, all right, I'm scrolling past it.
Now, how soon can we see both your brothers back in the ring, and how many times are you guys trying to fight this year? Because we want to see y'all in the ring early and often, man. We want to see y'all three, 4 times.
Man, I totally agree. Antonio should be competing again in May. We're looking about the end of part of May, and Antoine should be going again around the end of the year. He wanted we've been having a lot of stuff going on, man. We had a vicious 3 years. You know what I'm saying? It's been hectic. And then bruh finally he got that motherfucking strap. I want to give him an opportunity to just woosah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But he's definitely coming back this year in 2025 though.
Yeah, hell yeah. He's
Okay.
definitely yeah.
Say less.
Antoine be compete. He'll defend his title this year. Antonio should be going sometime around.
Yeah, I know that at during the fight card for March 1st, he was like, listen, man, I don't care if I get all the titles or whatever it is, and this guy lost the title, and I end up getting all the titles. I still want that fight with Alberto Puello. So it's like, hey, it don't matter if it's this year or whatever. He still wants that get back.
Hey, that bloodline mean as a motherfucker, man. That's just what it is. That's a real fighter. A lot of people don't want to rematch people. A lot of people don't even want to fight people that they think they might lose to. They pick choosing who the fuck they want to fight. That's some soft ass shit in a gladiator sport. What the fuck? That's why I be scrolling past this shit unless it's somebody that I actually know.
Word. Yeah, on that, man, had something from a while ago, like, and Mr. Gary Russell must know Lamont Roach Jr. there. What did you think about that fight that happened on March 1st at the Barclays Center versus Tank?
Which man I must know Lamont Roach Jr.
That's what he assumes.
No, but I'm assuming he's saying that because y'all all from the DMV.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I know Lamont. I know Lamont just like I know Tank. They were all. I'm not gonna. They came up after me. They came up on.
You was about to call them your sons, wasn't you?
Nah.
This guy. Come on, man. Come on, man.
He was about to call them. Listen, man. He was about to call them his sons.
I wasn't gonna say that. What I can say is this: if I wasn't gonna call them my sons, you know what I'm saying? What I can say is this: if both of them be real with themselves, I mean, even their motherfucking team. When I was competing, I was one of the guys that they had to look up to. I was the only guy around our area for real that was holding shit down for real. You know what I'm saying? The Petersons, they did all right too for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I was the only one that was, like in that around that time frame. I was the only Olympian. I was the only. So they had. I knew them guys. But as far as the fight goes, I thought it was a decent fight. I thought Rose did better than what I expected. Um, but I don't feel like neither one of them did fucking great either. I feel like me being a connoisseur of the sport, somebody that actually done this shit and did it on the P level, I feel as though that neither one of them did anything extraordinary. Nobody did show separation within that fight. I think Tank fought a little less than what people are accustomed to seeing him fight. He didn't mash the gas as much as he should have. And I think Roach just did a little better than people expected. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't feel as though Roach did enough to take the title from the champion. Nobody in that fight showed that, okay, nah, I'm this much better than you, my boy. Nobody did that in that fight. It just showed good back and forth action. That's what I seen in the fight.
Is it like part of like their familiarity with each other, not just with what happened, in the amateurs, but also, them doing work together during their time coming up as pros?
I don't know. I don't know how much work they've done together in the pros. It could just be from their familiarity from the amateurs. I'm not sure. Not sure. I do know when I was in my motherfucking prime, both of them need to definitely stay away from me with the way, even with the performances that they had that night on March 1st. that performance wouldn't have did nothing with my worst performance. I would have beat both of them.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here if I check a couple more things here on the chat. But
Yeah, but before you get to the chat, JBZ, I just want to switch gears real quick,
all right.
Gary, because your Olympic teammate Deontay Wilder announced his comeback. He's coming back in June. He's gonna be fighting in Kansas. You know, a little tune-up fight. Like, have you been like keeping up with what's going on with him? Like, because obviously we know he took a couple bad L's. He's still trying to make his way back. Like, what advice would you give to your Olympic teammate trying to get back to the top?
I mean, hey, now Deontay, you already know. I tell you, fuck what everybody got to say. Lock in on what you got. Lock in on. Do what's best for you and yours. Fuck everybody else. What everybody got to say. End of the day, when this shit all said and done, bro, you the only one that's gonna have to deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Do what's best for you, soldier. You know what I'm saying? And hit me. Hit me when you free, man. I gotta holler at you anyway.
I love
Word.
it, love it, love it.
Word. Of course, you know, Deontay Wilder is one of those standout fighters here in the history of the boxing source because, you know, Mr. Matt, you know, has accused me multiple times of being the biggest Deontay Wilder hater on the planet, but he's the president of the Deontay Wilder fan club.
Yeah, listen, that's my guy. Listen, the people I root for in boxing, I root for Deontay Wilder, I root for the Russell family, and I root for David Benavidez. Everybody know that. Those are the people I root for.
Crazy. I fuck with Benavidez too. I fuck with that whole mob. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with the Benavidez too. But Deontay, I fuck with Deontay just because who he is as a person. You know what I'm saying? Deontay cool as shit. He goofy as a motherfucker. Big goofy. He goofy. Had a lot of fun together. We had a lot of fun together, man. I take my hat off to him. I'm actually happy for Deontay. To be honest with you, he, in my eyes, and there's no shot that, you know what I'm saying? No shot at Deontay, but he's an overachiever. You know what I'm saying? Deontay was an overachiever. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the least experienced person on the Olympic team. You know what I'm saying? Least experienced person on the Olympic team, but he had dynamite in this motherfucking right hand, and he got a ton of heart. That's all you need. This is one of the things you need right here. He got a ton of heart, and he got dynamite in this motherfucking right hand. You know, and he's been able to make it work for him this far, to make a living for him, for his babies, and etc.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I definitely take my hat off. I'm glad that we even had the opportunity for that shit, and hopefully you can make some more money. Put somebody else in their back pockets, cooking up motherfucking boots. Yeah. Always. Look, I'm always gonna root for the people I fuck with, man.
Word, no doubt, no doubt. You know, like you said, Wilder was able to, you know, come up there in the Olympics, win the bronze medal, and do what he set out to do, and that was be able to come up
some goddamn respect, JR. Yeah.
And thing though, bro, I'm gonna be real. Deontay, man, that's my dog, bro. But he really, to me, he as a professional fighter, like I feel like he need a good ass coach. I feel like he can be good because he got the equalizer, but he's not as skilled. You know what I'm saying? I can truly say Deontay isn't as skilled as some of these other fighters. I was mad as fuck. Like when he fought what's the guy? When he fought Tyson Fury, I was like, fuck. Before the fight happened, I was like, fuck. I said, man, Tyson Fury, he can actually fucking box. I said, man, he honestly has better skills than fucking Deontay. I hope Deontay can find his ass with that motherfucking right hand. I know my dog ain't gonna quit. Fuck that. I hope he can find his ass with that right hand. But that was a fight. I'm like, damn. I was mad about. I was one.
Yeah, for that matchup, that style thing. That he could have been a issue there for Deontay Wilder. But like you said, with the right hand, with the heart, like he never stopped. Pretty much he had the thing with the first fight, and everybody knows about what happened there in the second fight. But that third fight that stood out there, like even with what was happening and what he was going through during that fight, he never quit, never quit. You know what I mean? Feel
No,
me?
no retreat.
Word. Yeah, and Secret Dance who says Deontay Wilder versus Tyrell Herndon on June 27th. That should be in Wichita, Kansas. There, and you talking about this thing here with Deontay Wilder. You know what? We probably should have Gary Russell Jr. in the corner for Deontay Wilder. That would be the thing right there.
Hey, listen.
Hey, look.
Let me tell you. Listen, Deontay's my guy, but he ain't throwing no 12-punch combination. So you can hang that shit up.
Hey, here's the thing. It's not. He wouldn't have to throw a 12-punch combination. When someone, I think, what someone does naturally, you're supposed to take that and build on it. You don't try to strip. I wouldn't try to take somebody that's naturally a aggressive Mike Tyson style fighter and try to turn him to a fucking Muhammad Ali. That doesn't make sense.
See? And I'll tell you that. I told you, JR, that Malik Scott turned Deontay Wilder into Malik Scott. That's what I told y'all. Nobody want to listen to me, man. But you're hearing it from one of the best trainers in boxing, Gary Russell Jr. So I hope you know that I know what the fuck I'm talking about, man. I've been watching Deontay since for like 15, 16 years, man. I know what's going on.
But he don't have to throw a 12-punch combination to be out to go and be equally as effective. He got the fucking equalizer.
Yeah.
His Deontay thing would be range, defensive discipline. You'll have to work on Deontay's range, his defensive discipline, how he closed the range, how he is catching shit when motherfuckers and how to actually catch and fire at the same time, punching in between and shit like that. That's something that Deontay will have to work on. You know,
he got to get rid of that toe tap before he throw the right hand.
Yeah, his leg.
It's that fucking toe tap.
Where he's like, he'll do like a southern step and then throw the right. But there was something there where he used to utilize the strategy. You see this in his first fight against Luis Ortiz, where he would have his lead hand out. Sometimes he would throw the jab, but he would have his lead hand out, but it would be more of like a cut down. So like if he has an opponent with the guard, he'll use his left hand and cut down or bring down that arm so he could shoot the right hand. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that like the first fight against Luis Ortiz, which is like a good move to try to, get that guard down in order to, land the right hand, that he had. So he hadn't necessarily been doing that recently too, man.
Man, it's little shit that I would love to add. Like Deontay, he's a big boy. It's certain shit that I would love to add to that boy, to that man repertoire. Like Deontay, most heavyweights don't throw body shots like that. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Most heavyweights don't throw body shots. None of that shit. They just headhunt. Mm-hmm. Unless Mike Tyson or you got a short, stocky, now he gonna try to close the distance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But most heavyweights, they forsake the body. It's certain shit that heavyweights just don't do.
Mm.
That if you bring a little bit of that shit into it, well, no, I can't use him because he was actually a middleweight that moved up. Can't use him as an example. I was about to say Chris Bird, because Deontay would never move like a Chris Bird. But Chris Bird brought little motherfuckers attributes in there with big guys. And it made him light years ahead of them. It's subtle shit that Deontay would be able to add on to his repertoire. He already got reach. He just got to tighten his shit up. His defensive discipline, his fucking feet all over the place. His legs and shit be all over the place sometimes. Shit like that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Your base, all that shit, defensive discipline. Certain shots. You wouldn't even need much for Deontay. It's only certain shots that you want to add on to his shit. But you want to make sure he get that shit right. Every shot that you want to do, he got to have it right. I need you to get this shit down to the fucking T. I need you to be able to deliver this shit correctly. I don't give a fuck if somebody punching at you, not punching at you. It needed to be delivered correctly. And when you finish delivering it, this is where you need to be safe afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
All that shit matters.
You ever thought about doing a podcast like LeBron James? Like LeBron James had that mind of the game shit where he's breaking down the X's and O's. No?
Nope.
Oh, come on, man. You could do like a boxing style podcast where you
Hey,
breaking down
look,
the X's and O's.
I pop in every once in a while to drop some juice. I pop in every once in a while to drop some juice, but for the most cases, until my little brothers concluded their shit, when my little brothers they bought, then I wouldn't mind doing it. I wouldn't mind.
Word. Yeah, on that, man, we gotta work on the thing there with the socials too, because I know work with my guy there, man. Nook that be going in there in the gyms and stuff like that. So we said that we were gonna work on getting y'all on the thing with the socials and getting y'all on Twitter and X and stuff like that, and get on the spaces, and things like that. Because we got my guy Matt here that has his conversations there with Brunch Boxing. So we trying to set up having y'all out there, what I'm saying, to have those conversations with the fans too. So
Yeah, and Jr. I'm so mad because at the press conference, because I can't see shit. At the press conference, I was standing next to Gary the whole time and didn't even know until you told me, yo, did you chop it up with Gary? I was like, Gary who? Gary Russell. He was standing next to you. I was like, man, are you fucking kidding me? So yeah, Gary, that big nigga that was standing next to you the whole time when you couldn't see nobody, that was me, man.
Oh, that was you right there blocking up.
Yeah.
My boy, bro.
Yeah, he ain't lying, man. He can't see, man. Man, this phone, man. I'm telling you, man. He have his phone, and this phone, he'll be like right here doing that and stuff like that.
Yeah, JR was like, yo, you ain't chopping up with Gary. I was like, Gary, who? You on stage? Nah, Gary Russell Jr. I was like, nah, come on, man. Don't do me like that, man.
Hey, man. Hey, I though, man. I would love to. If I had a perfect world, man, I'd definitely come back and it'd be a whole bunch of. If I could come back, I'd be talking a whole bunch of shit. Cause there's a whole bunch of people that I would want to fight. I just physically, this shit just.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. It's like with the game, a lot of people they gravitate towards folks that be talking a whole lot of shit. And in one of my conversations there with Antonio, like he said, like what, for some time, I've been holding back in that type of stuff, but now, I'm gonna start talking my shit. So that be the thing about it. Sometimes is that that kind of like gravitates more fans to like say, hey, I see him saying something. I want to see what he gonna do in his next fight.
See, well, here's the thing. A lot of people associate when people talk shit to confidence. You know what I'm saying? They associate that to confidence.
Mm-hmm.
He feel like he can do this shit. Oh, he really on this shit. It's a problem when you got a motherfucker like me that's saying that shit, and them motherfuckers really know I'm really about all that shit I'm saying. They like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna fucking fight him. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Where he says secret dance. You
It
go ahead.
wouldn't even be considered talking shit. It'd be just speaking how you honestly feel. You know what I'm saying? Fighters. You know what I'm saying? This is a gladiator sport. This is a brutal sport. How do y'all you know what I'm saying? Go about this shit.
No doubt. Hey, my guy, Secret Dance, who says Gary Russell Jr. looks in fighting shape, could make 130 easy.
Oh, you know.
Word. He also asked, what does Gary Russell Jr. think of Spencer's recent tweet about the dangers of alcohol? How do the Russell brothers stay away from bad influences like that?
Shit, you gotta have discipline, but don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Everybody indulge from time to time. I still drink some wine and some shit from time to time. I still sip on something. But it's a balance of everything.
Yeah.
You have people that I'm a real person. Like I said, I can never food poison the fans and give y'all some bullshit. I gotta give y'all the real. It gotta have a balance. It's when much is given, much is required. Elite athletes that make it to a certain level and their skill set has gotten to a certain point of their career, it's just certain shit that you just can't do. It affects you differently affect other people. And you have to be mature enough and disciplined enough not to deal with it. I think that's what kept but keeps us just like grounded.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But listen. When a nigga say he drink wine, and when they talk about alcohol, yeah, you definitely retired, man. Once you talk about drinking wine, that come on, dog.
All right, so
Hey, listen, man.
hey,
Hey, you talk about devil in that joint, man. Hey,
so look, I'm gonna show you. So look, I'm not really a drinker. So you feel me?
okay.
So if it was anything that I was sip on, it'd be something like this. And this
Well,
Yep.
okay.
this been my refrigerator forever. I don't know
Feel you.
thought about drinking it.
Yeah, feel you, man. You know, hey, y'all know, man. Hey, you know, I was at the thing there with the event with y'all, a couple weeks back and stuff like that. So where they had what it was, man,
Oh,
they had a big straight, right?
oh, now that shit, it's I don't know what they called it. They just made something up. See, I'm not really a drinker.
Right.
Sip on something real light, and if I do, it need to be some sweet shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell they had at that party, but I know I had to leave. I had to leave.
Yo, hey, look, you
They,
was bringing that out, right, man?
they called
And
it
some
Twan
folks
the
know.
Don. They called it Twan the Don.
Yeah.
That's what they named the drink. It had like white Henny. It had a whole bunch of shit in it. I don't know what they had in it.
Listen, hey,
So,
I couldn't mess with that because I mean, I'm more of like a dark. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got the the Johnny Walker. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Man, I got the Irish joint. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's one of the Don. Man, I had one of them joints.
it's a rap. It is a rap.
Yo, I was like, wait a minute, hold up. I don't know if I could do anything else after that one. Yo, that was crazy.
Hey, he funny as shit. He said, "Man, we talking about drinking. You talking about some wine. You must really retire." Hey, is it?
For sure, man. I got a couple more things here. What is it? Oh my God, Giorgio says, yeah, we mentioned a thing that with Inoue. He was talking about you versus Inoue at 126 is a dream fight.
I ain't gonna lie. That would have been me in my prime, me still healthy and shit like that, me still competing. That would have been a fight. Loved it. He would have been one of the guys that I would have wanted to compete at. I just wouldn't want to compete with him at 126. I would do it at like 130 or something like that.
130 something. Yeah, for sure.
See, if I would have if they wouldn't have played with me, and I would have beat that dude, and my shoulder wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying, went through the injury, I was going to move up. I was planning on moving up to 130.
Yeah, for sure.
Nobody wanted to unify at 126 as long as I had the title. I had the title for over I don't know how many years, how many champions that was in the 126 division.
Numerous.
My title, all of the champions I wanted to unify against. Nobody.
Hey, well, they still not unifying at 126
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, listen, I don't know. I can't speak on it. I ain't really, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I was planning on moving up to 130 after that fight.
Word.
Yeah. So if I was healthy and everything would have went as planned and I didn't have the injury, I would have been willing to compete against him, but it would have been at 130.
Yeah, no doubt. My guy says, Giorgio says, yeah, you beat Max. I don't care what anyone says. Hey, like I was talking about, man. Like
Now,
everybody that was there in Atlantic City, they knew the deal. You know what I'm saying? I was watching that, they knew the deal. Come on, man.
the sport of boxing is Marcus of Queensbury to hit and not get hit. Bro, I made that man look stupid in there with one arm. Did what the fuck I wanted. Touched him when I wanted to. Control chaos. All right, man, that shit crazy. I don't know what the fuck them judges, the promoter. That's why I'm understand clear Pacquiao. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Him who's my guy there, man? Sean Gibbons. Yo, yeah, be him too, yeah. Oh man.
I got nothing against you, but I ain't with that shit.
Yeah. I feel you. I got my guy L Dub in the building, man. What's good with you? It says, hold on. Did you realize that you and Leo will hit the Hall of Fame ballot for 2026? And how much of a blow to you to not be able to get that fight with Leo Santa Cruz?
Wait, say it again, girl.
Like you pretty much could be up for the ballot for Hall of Fame in 2026. Like your first, like your first, it'll be your first entry that you would be there for the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Man, that'd be sweet. You know what I'm saying? How much would it blow?
How much of a blow to you is it to not get that fight with Leo Santa Cruz?
Be some bullshit. I mean, it's cool. I already done kind of came to grips with everything. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I kind of came to grips. I think if Antonio gets a title, it would definitely lighten the load because at that point, me, Antoine, and Antonio would make history because there's never been 3 American homegrown brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, if I can still participate in the sport by catapulting my younger brothers, then I'm cool with that.
Word for sure. It had like was it reference to Antoine? Giorgio says thoughts on the 140 WBA mandatory Andy Hirioka. Like, hey, like we were mentioning earlier, you know, when we were talking about Michael Angeletti.
So listen, I don't know who that guy is.
Exactly. You know,
and this is not me throwing no shade. I don't know who the hell that guy is.
Yeah.
Well, Hirioka, he could punch. He could punch, but he ain't really got nothing for.
So is he? Does he have a style similar? What's the other guy, Matisse? Because my brother won him. He wanted to fight Matisse too.
Subriel Matias, yeah. Not quite.
Yeah, well, he could box a little bit better than Matias. He could box a little bit better than him, but they do have like similar come forward styles. Like he hitting. I ain't gonna front. That boy hitting, but he ain't really got the skills like that to match Gary Antuanne, in my opinion. And his chin ain't really been tested like that.
He gonna have problems then. He gonna have problems. He can thump all day. It don't matter. It don't matter if a motherfucker can thump. If he can't line that shit up the way he want to, don't none of that shit matter. If he don't have the hand speed that my little brother got, the ring generalship, and all of that shit, because once again, it's not about being one-dimensional. It's not about being one-dimensional. And you have some fighters that you have to be real with them and be like, listen, bro, we got to work with what the fuck you got, and this is all you got. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be real, and we can build on that. We're going to add on to that. We're going to make you the best version of what the fuck you have. Yeah. When it comes to my little brother, he got my DNA. We can we ain't got to stick to the script. He can flip this. We can be versatile. You know,
multiple elements to the game.
So if there's someone that can pop a little bit, my little brother got thumpers too. My father told me. We was watching a fight one day, and it was dudes, they was rumbling like shit. They clutching. One dude get dropped, the other dude get back up. He knock him down. Hell of a fight. My father looked at me. I said, man, that was a fucking war. He said, well, what creates a war? I said, I don't know. I said, 2 people that's just, you know what I'm saying, not willing to give up. He said, nah. He said, that's 2 stupid fighters. Somebody who didn't have the ability to make the necessary adjustments to make the shit easier. You feel me?
Yeah, I wonder if that was Ortiz brother. I mean, something like that. All right, hold up. Let me see. It says what? Gary Russell Jr. moved to 145. Left the fight from there too.
It's like Gary about to get abducted by aliens, man.
I don't know. Hold up.
Your shit fucking up now. I can't hear nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like Trump or something like that.
Hey, you sound like the dude off of you
Yeah,
sound
hold
like the
on.
dude Batman. Say something.
Hold on, we back.
Nah, I can't hear.
All right, you might have to go off and then go back on, and then let me see if we can connect back on. Yeah, let's see if we could redo that, man. So yeah, hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. Having Mr. Gary Russell Jr. on here with us. So we see if we got see if we could get back to connect back on or something like that, and we'll have him on for a little bit more here, so we could have a few more questions on this thing with that. So we're gonna see if he's gonna be able to reconnect and then kind of like wind this down. So we've had him on here for an hour, pretty much over an hour. So this really some big stuff here for what's going down. Of course, big ups for everyone that's watching live here. Whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, and those that are participating on the live chat and everything like that. Like hit the share button, whether you're there on social media through Facebook or whatever it is, and also hit the like button there for YouTube, so we get the the algorithms up and things like that for all of that, man. But I know that brother Matt was really proud about what he was talking about with Mr. Deontay Wilder. But yeah, hey, we should have that type of idea, man. We should propose that for Deontay Wilder having Gary Russell Jr.
Hey,
there in the camp.
hey, you're listen. You already know I'm gonna reach out. Listen, because hey, listen. I like Malik Scott. Great guy, great OnlyFans, great guy, right? But, 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 it's been a couple losses in a row. Maybe a extra set of eyes is needed. I'm not saying get him out of the corner completely, but maybe bring in an extra set of eyes to see if maybe they could bring a dynamic that is clearly lacking. Now, I will say also, he did have a shoulder injury, had shoulder surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and from all accounts, that shoulder is perfect now. So we'll see. We will see, man. Shout out to Trill, man.
See, I wasn't gonna say anything. I wasn't gonna say anything, man. Probably gotta give Mr. Gary a few more minutes to see if he can reconnect or something like that. And see if we can get him back on because like I said, had a great conversation here with him. Here for the channel, I got like a lot more that's coming up today. I posted on social media that this is like one of three scheduled interviews for today that I'll have on the channel, man. So it's definitely going to be a real busy day here for the channel. You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
So
who are the other two interviews that you're having?
all right, so this one was going to be from yesterday, but he rescheduled it to today around 6 p.m. I'll have Coach Bob Santos on to follow up with the Elijah Garcia thing, and he has the two Cuban heavyweights, Linear and Denier Pero, that they have fights coming up. One of them has a fight coming up April 18th in Orlando, and I'll see if I can get more on on Mario Barrios to see what's next for him on that. And then at about 8 p.m. this evening, it'll be the debut of the DMV Boxing Network show. We're gonna have a number of media outlets here from the DMV area that's going to be talking about the action that's coming up here in this area, particularly April 12th for that Pro Box show. We're going to have Lamar Roach Sr. on to talk about that show and stuff like that too. But that's going to be periodical show that we're going to see if we can host at least once a month, but also try to have something at least a couple of times before that April 12th card, because I want to have a few fighters included on the DMV Boxing Network show there. So we got that going up. Let me see something here. I see if I send it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we definitely got to tap in with that today, man. That's some great stuff, man. That's some great stuff. Like Bob Santos, I listen, man. I want to know what he really thought about Elijah Garcia's performance. You know,
Mhm.
because I'll be honest, I thought Gaethje won the fight. I really did, but I'm not complaining because I had Elijah Garcia on my parlay. But but I felt really bad cashing that ticket on FanDuel because I thought that Terrell Gaethje won. Now I'm not gonna call it a robbery like everybody else because I think theoretically what the judges could have saw was the activity from Garcia because Garcia threw I think like 200 more punches than Gaethje.
Mhm.
So maybe they don't see what's landing, what's not landing, stuff like that. Maybe it was just the activity that they favored. But I thought Gaethje counted beautifully, and I thought
Yeah.
Gaethje won. Like I had it like 8 rounds to 2. To be honest with you,
Mm.
I thought it was a clear victory.
Mm. Yeah, it's I guess, yeah, like you said, the judges kind of scored it, I guess, for their overall activity there from Elijah Garcia, whether it landed or not. Sometimes with judges, depending on where they're at and the angle that they see, they might not be able to tell that the punch landed. It's not like they have the. I don't know if they really go by the thing there with the punch stats or whatnot. So they kind of like watch the fight, and then right after the fight's done, then they write on the scorecard and then they submit it. You know what I mean? And the referee collects it and then brings it to the person that writes down the scores for each of the each of the judges. So that's pretty much like how that goes here. I had reached out, one more time here for Mr. Gary Russell Jr. I'm going to give him like a few more minutes to see if he gets back on there. But, like I said, it's been a great conversation here, with him and things like that. So we'll see if we could get him back on or whatnot. But,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Honestly, I don't think there's nothing else to say, man. I
yeah,
mean,
that's how I was saying, man. You know what I mean? Because, like I was saying, I was like, only had about like a couple more questions. You feel me? So that was pretty much it. I just wanted him to, properly, address the fans and everything like that with the outro and that type of stuff. So, because
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it
yeah.
be real, man.
But
Go ahead.
let me ask you about Deontay while we
All
waiting
right.
for him. Now, you saw the rumors about, he might fight Adesanya. I knew all that was bullshit. Listen, I'll be honest. I already knew that Wilder was coming back June 27th in Kansas. I just didn't
Mhm.
put all the exact information out there because,
Right. Yeah.
whatever. I knew when people see the opponent, they're going to talk shit. But
Mhm.
I think he's doing the right thing. Like, you got to
Mhm.
have a couple get back fights to get back on track, work on what you need to work on
Yeah.
before you try to get back into the heavyweight mix. So, what's your thoughts on the fight and the opponent?
It's a great move, on multiple fronts, right? Because the thing is, you want to get yourself back into the win column, number one, and also like number two, you got to see like where you are as far as like what you're gonna do for your career. You feel me? So it's like, okay, what's gonna be the direction, and how are we gonna get this done? First, let's get ourselves back into gear. With this fight that's coming up there in Wichita. I also thought that maybe he could have had that fight over close to Atlanta or in Atlanta there to kind of like get back at it. But have those couple of fights, then see what would be next on the docket for him, and see how often he'll be able to fight, because that's the other key thing is being able to get in the ring, have a little rest, and then get right back at it. So I hope that that's the plan for him. And I think the past couple of fights have been more, as they say, money driven, in that you want to try to make as big a fight as possible, or get as much money as possible with that, instead of trying to see where you're at for where you're trying to go for your career and stuff like that. So that's kind of like how I approach that. Now the thing about the I get Caviar, I was like, I didn't know anything about that, and if that was like out there, I would have been like, nah, that wouldn't be the fight for him. Definitely not. Like, Agit Kabiel has been one of the more impressive heavyweights here over the past year and a half or so. Him, Daniel Dubois. You got, of course, there were Alexander Usyk being the undisputed champion and that type of stuff, for top guy. But outside of Alexander Usyk, it was Daniel Dubois doing what he's done here in the heavyweight division, and then behind him is Age Cabello. So having Deontay Wilder be set up like that, yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a good move there. Let me see here, man. My guy Thomas Hill says, "Say salute my guy, not Riddick Bowe, aka the Boxing Source." You know what I'm saying? So I got that there. So yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I'll kind of like wind this down because I got like about another 5 hours or so here for our the next thing that I got coming up here. So I'm definitely good on that. Once again, big thanks for Mr. Gary Russell Jr. to jump on here to have the conversation. And of course, big ups for brother Matt here from Brunch Boxing to be on here. But like I was saying, man, we gotta seeing if I could hit up a couple folks here to get them more active as far as like the social media is concerned, because it said that we try to get something done with the Twitter joint forum so that they could be out there on Twitter, saying stuff. So definitely see if I could work on that here for them as well, man. And anything else you got here for now?
Not really, man. I just thought it was obviously a great interview. I thought that Gary was obviously open and honest, raw and uncut, man. And that's what we've come to expect from Gary Russell Jr., and it seems like Gary Antuanne's the same way too. We just got to get Gary Antuanne out there more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And yeah, I'll be talking with my guy to see about working on that, because we had something before the fight and after the fight here through Well Connected Elite. You had like a series there, with two sides, titled Two Sides to Every Story. You had part one there with Gary Antuanne Russell preparing before the fight, and then after the fight we had some clips, highlights and things there from going to the fight, preparing for the fight. You had some fight highlights that were there, and then after the fight also a celebration and that type of stuff there. So if y'all look at Well Connected Elite Sports on YouTube, you'll be able to see both of those episodes there. Two sides to every story, Gary Antuanne Russell. Before I roll out, I got my guy Thomas Hill to ask. I'm late, but who you got for the weekend? And what Mr. Gary Russell was highlighted. Yeah, you missed that. You're gonna have to catch the replay there for Mr. Gary Russell Jr. But for me, what I got on here, man, I got my picks. I got Luis, former champion Luis Alberto Lopez is back in the ring. I got him. He's gonna be winning this fight. I got him by KO, right? I got Oscar Collazo by TKO. I got Yokasa Valle by unanimous decision. I got William Zepeda by majority decision. So be on the lookout for that. I got Brian Norman Jr. By technical knockout. Who else? I got Shushu Carrington, unanimous decision. Troy Isley, they're getting a late TKO. And I actually have Sandy Ryan by split decision also. So that's going to be.
Oh, come on, man. I'm getting your citizenship revoked, man. I don't care if you were born here. I'm sick of you always going against the American fighter, man. Michaela Mayer is going to cook Sandy Ryan. First of all, that first fight, I thought Michaela Mayer won like very, very clearly. 97-93 in my opinion. And I don't think Sandy Ryan got nothing for her. She ain't got nothing for her. Okay. And Kay Koroma sucks. Okay? Kay Koroma sucks. Whoever team Kay Koroma's on, that's who gonna lose. All right? And Kay Koroma's on Sandy Ryan's team, so Sandy Ryan's gonna get beat again.
I can't follow up with that comment. What is it? Yeah. Finally able to pick up the pieces from the past is such a great presence in our lives, and their father rests in power. Much less after the passing of their brother. Yeah, yep, for sure, Thomas Hill. But yep, that's what I got here for this one. Like I said, we'll be back on the channel here on YouTube at scheduled for around 6 p.m. Should be from 6 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. there with Coach Bob Santos. And then for 8 p.m. Eastern time, the DMV Boxing Network show here. Like, we're going to have a number of folks here from the DMV area that's covering the sport of boxing. And we're going to have Lamont Roach Sr. talking about the No Excuse Promotions fight card coming up April 12th at the Maryland Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland, featuring a number of fighters there from No Excuse Promotions and also other fighters that are out there from multiple gyms here in the area. So y'all be sure to check that out here on this particular channel. And we're going to work on, having it on their channels as well. So they'll be able to watch with that as well, too. And shout out to my guy from Supreme Beast Boxing Talk, too. I got to, reach out to y'all as well in reference to the DMV Boxing Network as well. So that's what I got here. And shoot, like I said, this is just part one for today, y'all. I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.